All right. Greetings. Is this loud enough? I don't know. Maybe that's a little better. Greetings. Welcome back to Blackburn News, where everything is connected. How y'all doing? Excuse me. Jeez. Um. All right. We got people in here. No, we have no guardrails. There are no guardrails. There ain't no guardrails. Ain't none. Yeah. You guys, you get it. It's a target. It's not a guardrail. It's not something that's going to keep us safe on any level. Why is everything being so strange? I don't know. Anyways, we're live on YouTube, Rockfin, Colin, Twitter. My God. But good to see you all. What do we got? We got a bunch of, oh crap. I have a bunch of busy work I'm supposed to do. I think what I'm going to start doing, y'all, is, and please hold me to it if I don't do it right away, but I will put, I'll put all the links for the things that I cover in the Telegram. Okay. So if you guys are wondering where the links are to the things that I'm covering, they will be in the Telegram. Yeah. You guys know where the Telegram's at. The link for the Telegram is in the description box of the whatever platform it is that you're listening to the show on. Excuse me. All right, so yeah, it's the warm days got me spoiled. It's kind of nice right now here. As you can see, I'm wearing a t-shirt. It's not too bad. It's like cloudy, overcast. It rained a bunch yesterday, but it's kind of warmed up. Deline says New Yorkers suffering from a contagious stomach virus. California is next. Really? Really? What's up with this stomach virus? Oh, there's always a new one, right? Oh. It's a new thing, guys. Watch out. I think the funny thing is, well, let's see. Norovirus. Huh. Okay. Should we all watch out for norovirus? I don't know. The viruses are bad, but not as bad as the cure. You know what I'm saying? Not as bad as the cure. Spread by cruise ships. Yeah, probably. And I actually, now I think that I was right. What's up, Denver? Denver dropping links on Rockfin. What's up? Damaging underwater sea cables are getting damaged. Yeah, well, isn't that interesting, right? Because they were saying, oh, the news stories that come out, oh, we think that this group might be about to do something, right? And that gives perfect cover for anyone to do that thing, right? Even the people that put out the news story. You know what I'm saying? The people that put out the news story. Joseph Wood says, real men take the cure. Or at least good people, right? Not the bad people. The bad people don't take the cure. The bad people are like, hey, I'm worried about my health. Hey, I have questions about this. Oh, well, you're bad. You're one of the bad people. I was going to finish my thought. My thought was, remember when the pandemic first kind of, before the pandemic, before the pandemic, when they were like, there's a strange virus in China. And a couple of people were like, watch out, it's going to be a big one. And I was like, nah. It's the usual, like scary headlines. Guys, it could be, about to be. Well, it did turn into something, but my assessment was correct. So my assessment of the fact that it actually wasn't something was correct. But they somehow with the magic and the news stories, the headlines, and the manufacturing of consent, somehow they turned it into a thing that was actually a thing. They did it that time. But if you're actually talking about the actual thing that was supposed to be so bad, it actually wasn't a thing. It actually isn't a thing, right? It would have been like any other, right, virus. Like, well, could be bad for some people, like the flu. Could be like the flu, right? For some people, could be a bad trip. You don't want to take the flu. Could be a bad trip. Right. But for most people, the flu is not a big deal. Right. And so that was actually the truth about all of it. It wasn't really like, it wasn't. A friend of mine posted on Instagram, there's a billboard somewhere in Maryland, somebody wearing a mask. The billboard says, you're not helping anybody and you look stupid as hell. I got a chuckle out of that. Deline says, remember when they told us that the effects of Fukushima 2011 wouldn't start showing up until 10 years later? Huh. Do the math. When did the pandemic start? I mean, well, there's theories. Right? Am I right? There's theories. There's also theories about the ambient radiation caused by our electronic things that we use, right? There's also that. Some people think that might have had something to do with the exacerbation of the symptom. I don't know. How about, yeah, Naz, that is correct. There's a vaccine for norovirus, and it's called washing your hands. Yes. How close is Wuhan to Fukushima? Not too far. Spitting distance, as they used to say. Oh, what I was going to say. What about the fact that everybody's in ill health, anyways, because of poor food, poor what's in the water, not getting enough exercise, sitting in front of um, screens all day that shoot out um, some radiation that may or may not be very good for you, right? People are in. A lot of people, even who might consider themselves healthy, might be in damaged states or slightly damaged states, right? Compromised immunity. You know what I'm saying? All right, Steve Austin, goodbye 1.5C. We hardly knew you. Retweeting Bill McGuire. The global average temperature rise for the last 365 days was 1.55 C. For the last 180 days, it was 1.7 C. Is this spurring global governmental and corporative action to slash emissions? No. That's never been the slashing emissions is just a card trick. It's not going to happen. Because you have to burn the fuels to get the work done, right? To keep 8 billion people alive, you're going to have to burn some fossil fuels, even to make all the renewable to build rebuildables. To build the rebuildables, you have to burn a lot of carbon. So the emissions won't ever really stop. And they're not really going to go down too much either. And not anytime soon. Not with the technology we have at hand. So there's that. But 1.7C, right? 1.7C. Some people say we're edging on up. And that things might be getting even hotter. I don't know. I see somebody on Facebook whose posts have been popping up in my feed a lot. Seems to be in the near term extinction camp. Yeah, it's always interesting to me to take in that viewpoint. Everything's over by the spring. April or May, the end of civilization. I don't know. I feel like that's a little wild. I feel like the end of civilization or everything like really falling apart. It takes a lot of energy to do that, right? For things to really fall apart. It actually takes a lot of energy going in the other direction. And even though physically we tend towards falling apart, there's a lot of invested in keeping the system going, and that investment of energy isn't going to go away anytime soon, unless it's like electromagnetic pulse, nuclear war, something really cataclysmic like that. I don't even think a blue ocean event. I think a blue ocean event would be like a, oh my God, kind of moment. But I don't know that it doesn't. It's a pretty big deal. But a blue ocean event, making for who knows? I could be wrong. Maybe things fall apart slowly and then all at once. The climate crisis is ultimately a food crisis. Our yields are going to be appalling. One of the wettest winters in decades hits England's farms. So there's that. Don't forget the food that people need to eat. Flooding top of agenda at NFU conference after extreme weather ruins thousands of acres of crops. Well, there you go. That's the problem with getting too much rain. That's the problem with getting too much rain. They said we're in a drought. But look at all this rain. Yeah, well, it's too much rain. It's a problem. Too much of anything. There's a saying there somewhere. I don't know. Anyways, the wettest October, November, and December since records have been kept 27 years. They've had the wettest, said Andrew Ward, a Lincolnshire-based arable farmer. He flicks through videos on his phone of nearby fields that have been devastated by the heavy rain this winter, including one that shows him in front of what looks like a lake. That's my godson's farm, he says, pointing out the 2-meter deep water that has completely engulfed the land. He's been flooded since October. Well, so the farm was drilled and fertilized before the rain, so he may have lost 70,000 pounds in one go. Jesus. The Kent area, known as the Garden of England and home to many arable farmers, experienced its wettest 12-month period since records began. Well, and that's not going to be good for growing things. So it could, that's one brick in the wall of things that could be adding to the hardship of, the lack of food, the price of food, the difficulty in obtaining food. Some people think it's on purpose. Other people think it's due to climate change. What if it's a little of both? You ever consider that? No way. It can't be. It has to be one thing or the other thing. It cannot be two things at once. From Jim Yang, by the way, this morning, freezing rain was observed for the first time in more than 150 years of meteorological records in western Shanghai. This is a few days ago. This is the roof of the Shanghai Tower is covered in ice and snow. I guess they don't get this kind of weather. Like ever. 150 years of meteorological records. They have not had this happen. So, yeah. Well, that's different. So things that never happen or happen once every 1,000 years or every 500 years, happening all the time now. Somebody's doing something about something, and that's good. What are they doing? Activists in Finland are skiing into a remote nature preserve, braving minus 30 C temperatures to block Anglo-American mining company from drilling for nickel and copper and destroying this place. They are speaking out against greenwashing and need support and allies. Yeah. XR, this is XR, Extinction Rebellion Finland, blocking the mining rush in the Arctic. Well, that's how you do it, boys. That's how you do it. I know, throwing paint on a painting might seem pretty effective, but, I don't know, maybe sitting in a road is effective. I'm not sure. I'm not going to really, castigate people for what they're doing, but blocking mining companies or oil companies from drilling, piping, constructing, getting to their projects, really good direct action, really excellent direct action. Love that direct action. That's a good quote, Osama. Blocking, Heathrow Airport might seem a little silly, but the point is that they're going to build another runway at Heathrow, or are building another runway in order to bring more and more and more planes. Because golly gee, climate change is just so real and so urgent and so pressing. We got to build another runway for more planes. That's how pressing it is. Did you see that the U.S. intelligence? So the U.S. suspended aid to UNRWA, UNRWA, which is one of the UN's aid relief agencies in Gaza. Why did they cut this aid? Because they said that they were working with Hamas, right? Sure, that makes sense. This aid agency who's trying to feed people and stuff, they they're just interested in supporting, they're all political and stuff, and they want to support, no, I don't think so. I mean, on the face, that is just plain dumb. On the face of it, that is plain stupid. But it's kind of a stretch. Yet the U.S. still cut, anyways, the U.S. cut the UNRWA funding and asked other Western countries to do so too. Why? And so if you think, well, maybe that story doesn't really carry much water, why would they do that? Could it be that they're punishing the people of Palestine, the Palestinians? Just adding injury to insult to injury? I don't know. Anyways, the U.S. intelligence agencies came out and said they have low confidence in the claim of the U.S. government that UNRWA had any links to Hamas. Anyways, it means that Blinken most likely lied when he said in January that Israel's accusations were highly, highly credible. So what it was Israel said, hey, we think these guys are helping Hamas. Because that totally makes sense. This UN agency that's just there trying to give people relief, food, and aid. So you guys got to know, we're letting you know so you guys can take appropriate action. And then the U.S. was like, really? Whoa. That is crazy. Well, we better do something about it right away. Anyways, the U.S. intelligence agency said, no, that's probably not true. Why? Because it's dumb. It's just dumb. It's just a dumb idea, but they did it. They put it out there, and everybody was like, "Huh, okay." I mean, nobody believed it. Nobody was like, everybody was like, "Really? They're cutting aid to the Palestinian people because they think that this agency is working with Hamas?" Like, no, that's pretty low. That's pretty low. Nobody really believed this story. Nobody. And then the U.S. intelligence agencies came out and said, yeah, no, it's stupid. This is a dumb story. And it's true. It is dumb. And so they're contradicting the U.S. government's claim, or Israel's claim, and the U.S. government's belief of the claim. They're contradicting. They say no. The intel report says some accusations that aid workers participated in Hamas attacks credible, but could not be independently verified. So they're credible, but they have no verification, so therefore not credible at all. Like how is it credible? How is it credible if you can't verify it? It's not. It's just a story. So not credible. The fact that they even use the word credible is silly. U.S. intelligence assessment of Israel's claim that UN aid agency staff members participated in the Hamas attack on October 7th said some of the accusations were credible. They're just accusations, though could not be independently verified. So still accusations, not actual things, while also casting doubt on claims of wider links to militant groups. There you go. And, blah, 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 blah. It added that Israel had not shared the raw intelligence behind his assessments with the U.S. because there was none. Probably. You guys have any proof? Yeah, but no, but we don't want to give it to you. Yeah, no. But Antony Blinken, the Secretary of State, said in January that Israel's accusations were highly, highly credible. Because if you say a word twice, that means it's really true. Highly, highly credible. But they didn't give us any intelligence or no actual verification or proof. He just said so. Nine of the staff accused were sacked by the head of the agency, who said he followed reverse due process in doing so. What? Reverse due process. Philip Lazzarini. Reverse due process. The Commissioner General of the UNRWA told a press conference in Jerusalem earlier in February that he had not investigated the evidence before the firing. He's like, they were part of it, the attack, you say? That you're just telling me this, and you know what? I'm just going to believe you. You're fired. Out of here. I could have suspended them, but I have fired them, and now I have an investigation. Now I'm going to investigate. After I fired them, now is the time. And if the investigation tells us that this was wrong in that case, at the UN, we will take a decision on how to properly compensate them. So fire first, figure it out later. Sounds good. Sounds pretty sure. Sounds like, what is that? Liberty, justice, fairness, human rights, workers' rights, democracy. It sounds like all the good things that we support. Oh, it's not? Oh, whoops. Oh, sorry. Apparently, Ukraine is going to get some F-16s from the U.S. and that this post says that they are. NATO has given Ukraine permission to strike targets inside of Russia with soon-to-be delivered F-16 jets, says NATO chief in an interview today. Putin warned that if U.S.-made F-16 jets strike Russia, Ukraine may no longer be the only target. Yikes. And then readers added context, said that Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg said Kiev had the right to self-defense, including striking legitimate Russian military targets outside Ukraine. He did not mention F-16 jets specifically. So, false. What else is going on? Oh, this is interesting. Y'all hear about this? The CIA. The New York Times disclosed yesterday that the CIA built 12 secret spy bases in Ukraine. The New York Times said this is happening. So not a theory, but an actual admission, which, that would be truth. After a U.S.-supported violent coup toppled Ukraine's democratically elected government, CIA Director John Brennan visited Kiev in April 2014. Shortly after the new Ukrainian government launched an anti-terror operation against its Russian-speaking citizens in eastern Ukraine. Anti-terror, Anti-terror, you say. For 8 years leading up to Russia's invasion in 2022, Ukraine's government, with help from the CIA, relentlessly bombed eastern Ukraine. Millions of innocent civilians were caught in the crossfire of a geopolitical chess match between Russia and the United States. This is part of the story often ignored by the Western press. Do you guys want to hear this?
Various people have said that John Brennan, the head of the CIA, traveled possibly under another name to Kyiv. And I just wanted to know, did he travel there? Does it have anything to do with this action?
No, it happened only in some commands from Moscow. I don't know. So,
thank you.
Were you in Kiev recently?
I was in Kiev a couple weeks ago, yes.
Mm-hmm. Could you tell us what your mission was?
I was out there to interact with our Ukrainian partners and friends.
Ukraine's acting president has announced the start of an anti-terrorist operation in the east of the country.
Today was the day Kiev sent in troops to try to wrest back control of the east.
Я встречался с теми людьми, которые стоят на улице. О чем люди говорят? Люди хотят два государственных языка. Люди хотят федерализации. Сегодня призывают отправить армию. Сегодня призывают зачистить эти территории. Сегодня называют своих граждан террористами. Для чего? Я действительно считаю, что у нас есть возможность сохранить страну. Но для этого нужно остановить эскалацию насилия, прекратить военные операции, выступить в переговоры.
Что делаем по команде? Офицер сказал, мы спрыгнули к машине, стали оружие. Все, какой приказ вы выполняли, когда куда приехали? Ребята, сейчас начинаем разоружение.
Is there not a grassroots movement, though, by Russian speakers in eastern Ukraine who are not happy with the current situation?
We do have difference in my country. That's true. Every country has differences. But we are ready to bridge all these differences.
Easter Sunday was anything but peaceful in this corner of eastern Ukraine. At least 2 people were killed in a gunfight near Slavyansk at this makeshift checkpoint manned by pro-Russian separatists. They say they were attacked by a convoy of ultra-nationalists called the Right Sector, whose power base is in the west.
It's not clear what happened here, but this is exactly the kind of incident that could really blow this situation up into a civil war.
U.S. officials say the vice president's in Kiev to boost economic and political assistance to authorities there.
Speaking to its new pro-Western leaders, U.S. Vice President Joe Biden pledged to help Ukraine through the crisis, including an aid package of $50 million.
We can help in stabilizing and strengthening Ukraine's economy by helping you withstand the unfair economic pressure being thrust upon you. We stand ready to do that, and I say the American people stand ready.
The Ukrainian people deserve to determine their future, again, free from outside interference. And that's what the United States is trying to do. And to the extent that we here at CIA can work with our partners in Ukraine and other areas to give them the information, the capabilities that they need in order to bring stability and security back to that country, we will do that.
All right. Thanks, John Brennan. Thanks. What is this? What will it take for China to reach carbon neutrality by 2060? And sure. Denver says the way to do this is not technologically possible with current tech. Terawatts of energy storage capacity. Capacity isn't possible not with current tech. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, speaking of F-35s and kicking butts. Somebody questioned a Lockheed Martin senior fellow. Somebody had questions about the F-35 and how many deaths this technology was responsible for. Anyways, Bread and Circuses posts this. These are amazing questions. And the lack of response is unsurprising. Working within the world of DoD contractors, the pay is very good because it's a bribe to ignore the mass murder you participate in. Doublethink taken to the extreme is a prerequisite. So, somebody asking questions. Want to listen to it? It's a minute.
On a small, and I'm just wondering, as let's say an intern working on, like as a systems engineer or a software engineer, I don't know if you'd be able to speak on this, but would you be working on a small part of those systems? Are you working on projects with business impact? Like, would I be kind of doing like a small little side project, or would I be able to directly contribute to the murder of Palestinian children?
Okay, good question.
That you have a very impressive resume during the 18 years that you spent working on the F-22 jets and the years since that you worked on the F-35. If you were to give an estimate, how many children do you think you've killed?
I don't even know how to answer that question, nor will I give it a shot.
Thank you.
Hey boss, as a business major, company culture is a big factor when looking for internships, especially at a project manager position where you can spend most of your time working with others. What can you share about company culture and working with a team of genocide supporters and murderers?
That's another one I'm not going to answer because that's not who I work with.
Neener. I know you are, but what am I? I am not. Yeah, those were great questions. I loved it. I love that little Q&A. So glad people can get real questions once in a while. Here we go. All right now we're going to just pause for the cause. It's a pause for the cause. If you enjoy the show coming to you for free 99 every single day, Monday through Friday, every morning, and you like what you hear, you want to support the show, you want to keep the show going, I could certainly use your help. Always, you can help by buying me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/BlackBurnNews. Yeah, this is one of the, these are all good ways to help keep the show going, because it does take me time, energy, effort to do the show. I love doing the show, but every little bit helps. You can cash at me at Red Llama Music. You can Venmo me at Kevin Sandblum. You can PayPal me at paypal.me/Kevin Sandblum, and you can Zelle me at kevinsandblum@protonmail.com. I also have a music project that I'm working on, and I am taking contributions for the music projects. If you want to help out with that, here's a link. I'll drop the links, and you can, if you want to donate to that would be great. Here you go. Got a YouTube link there. We got a Rockfin link here. And I'll drop it on Twitter. Twitter. All right. Yeah, and I got some heaters coming on this record. I hope you all enjoy it. Well, they're fair. All right. Where am I at? Couple more things to cover. From Max Wilbert. So-called green energy industries are bribing politicians to undermine environmental protections. Really? Are they? Tell me more. A solar developer sent big checks to lawmakers who could clear the way for his clean energy ambitions. No, environmental groups and green energy developers disagree on how much oversight state law should require of federal lands. Oh. You know, the green energy people and the brown energy people all say the same thing. We want less regulation so we can be free. We want freedom for our capitalism. We need freedom to make things and build things and do things and sell things and buy things and eat things. We don't want more regulation. We want less regulation. Oh, really? No. You don't say. Well, if nobody's there to regulate them, what do you think is going to happen? It's going to be left to people standing in a field trying to stand in front of bulldozers and drilling machines and mining machines and clear cutting machines. Yeah, and then so that's always good. Here is Leon Simons. 8 months ago, many thought that the record high sea surface temperature anomalies over the 40 million square kilometers of the North Atlantic would be temporary. After 355 record days and counting, this is not temporary. 355 record days. 355 record days, an entire year of high temperature anomaly and sea surface temperature records in the North Atlantic. More from Leon Simons. After 348 record high days, the North Atlantic Ocean has reached the same temp anomaly as when the graph went viral around the world last year. It was long expected, but mostly ignored. This can help reduce the largest climate uncertainty. For decades, the area has been kept relatively cool by sulfur emissions from ships. This changed in 2020. Greenhouse gases cause warming, but aerosols cause regional and global cooling, hiding part of the warming. Cooling comes mainly from the sulfur and the fuels we burn. Uncertainties stem from the complex cloud effects. Aerosols make clouds larger, whiter, and longer lasting. No, tell me more. Aerosols make clouds larger, whiter, and longer lasting. Scientists know this. They understand this. Anyways. And some and clouds give us some warming and some cooling, right? But a lot of cooling, right? it tends towards cooling because it's more of a shade. I was listening to somebody who was kind of trying to, they were a skeptic trying to speak on climate change and the realities or non-realities, but Denver says there was no winter here. 75 degrees yesterday in Chattanooga. Jesus. 75 degrees. In Feb. Yeah, anyways, this guy was trying to speak on, like, we don't know what the cloud effects, and he was trying to bring in this, all the ships burning the bunker fuel, and I was like, yeah, that certainly is a lot of, yeah. But he didn't have any understanding or clue about global dimming or the effects that the burning of that bunker fuel and what it contained, how it could help cool. Right? And then when those high sulfur emissions or the bunker fuel was cleaned up, has been regulated somewhat in the last few years, has brought down some of that dimming effect, leading to what we're seeing now, which is spikes in the in temperature, especially over the North Atlantic. "15 years ago, the International Maritime Organization announced low sulfur fuel regulations to reduce the health and environmental effects of the associated air pollution. It's quite surprising to me that, in my opinion, 2020 has come into effect 4 years ago, and it's still largely excluded, while the policy has been known about for 15 years now. The global sulfur cap will be progressively reduced to 0.5% by the year 2020. Oh, IMO, sorry. International Maritime Organization. Modeling studies estimated that regions with the most shipping would show a large but uncertain in magnitude increase in the amount of absorbed sunlight. Satellites from NASA show a very large increase in absorbed sunlight over the combined North Pacific, North America, and North Atlantic region. This 54.3 kilometer squared area shows an increase of 4 watts per meter squared, as much as the global forcing of all greenhouse gases we added to the atmosphere. Jesus. It should come as no surprise that the sea surface temperatures in these regions have spiked after coal plants and ships have reduced their sulfur emissions over the past decade, with the biggest jump when the IMO 2020 regulation came into effect. And here's what it looks like over the last 80 years. Deline says 71 degrees on East Coast, Virginia. It's like a spring, almost summer day in a lot of places, right? All right, guys. I am going to get out of here. I am going to wrap it up for the day. And I'm going to post all the links to the show today in Telegram. So if you guys are interested, they'll be there. They'll also be on Patreon, as usual. And that, I think, is about it. I'm going to check on some coffees, I guess. All right. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you. Thank you for your eyes, your ears, and your conscience. I will see you tomorrow at the regular time of 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And until next time, peace.